Round two of the Mike Vrabel era OTAs are underway in Foxborough. Seems that Drake is dragging a little bit. We've got a Diggs dilemma, and a couple of wide receivers dropped off where they left off last year. Oh, Fitzy, come on, cut him some slack. I can't. I've had my popcorn ready in my wheelchair for over a year. It's time for people to deliver. Like Megan Ottolini, who was there at OTAs the other day. We're going to get a fresh perspective from her on the latest six rings and football things. Here we go.
Hey, whatever it takes, man. It's all about winning, all right? Winning on three. 1, 2, 3, win!
Celebrating the heroes of Foxborough's past.
Anna with a good block. Look at Grover. All the way. Watch the block of number 73, John Hanna.
The champions of the dynastic era.
Adam Vinatieri booms a 48-yard field goal, and the Patriots are Super Bowl champions.
The Patriots of tomorrow.
We're going to remove entitlement from our football team. We're going to earn the right to be here every single day.
And the fans whose faith never wavers. This is Six Rings and Football Things.
Video of Stef Diggs has gotten a lot of traction in the last 24 hours or so. He's on a boat having a good time, but the question comes in as to a certain substance that people are guessing what is and isn't. Is this something that the team has to look into?
Well, it's something that we're aware of, and obviously we want to make great decisions on and off the field, and we're hoping that with our time here on the field today, and that when we don't have a script and we're on the call-up periods, that we're making great decisions. And so the message will be the same for all our players, that we're trying to make great decisions. And any conversations that I've had with Stefan.
Well, it doesn't look like the new wide receiver one for your New England Patriots has been exercising his better judgment off the field or on boats. And of course, Mego, we full well know nothing good ever happens for NFL wide receivers on boats, whether it's in the postseason or the preseason as well. A little research as to what went on with Stef Diggs on that boat led me down a Reddit hole that discovered that the pink stuff that he had in the bag that was passed off to some entertaining young ladies alongside Miss Cardi B, his GF du jour, is something called 2CB.
Let's say allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly. It could have also just been, listen, my kids make slime. My kids play with all sorts of putties, magnetic putties. I see similar substances and similar Ziploc type bags around my house all the time. That said, allegedly, what this could be is something called 2CB, which is, quote, Coke plus a little ketamine and some MDA, but only lasts 30 to 45 minutes at a time. So is the outrage warranted for what happened with Stef Diggs on that boat? We'll get to it momentarily. But first, here on Six Rings and Football Things, brought to you by WEEI Odyssey and 2400 Sports. We're happy to have Megan Ottolini, who was at OTAs this week, round two of the Vrabel era. Mego, tell me, once again, I know we can't make too much of this because it's out of pads. It's not a competitive practice, but a little bit has been made of Drake May, not exactly, tearing the world apart. Certain receivers looking like they picked up where they dropped off last year, as I mentioned previously. Some guys shining, some guys speed. Yes, as our friend Murph in the live chat as we record this and stream live, it was fun dip. Yes, Murph, it was a very special kind of fun dip that Stef Diggs and friends were enjoying. What did you see, and how did things look? Was the same intensity there that we've heard of and that you've seen thus far during OTAs?
It's interesting. I would say to start, the same intensity was there in practice, but once they got into the competitive periods, it may have been because the first period they looked like they were doing a lot of work on screens, kind of the quick game. I don't know if that lends itself to the highest intensity from the offense. It was a really inconsistent day from the offense overall. You didn't have the turnovers that Drake May had in that one competitive period last week where he had 4 and 8 throws. And again,
Oh, I
I'm
hadn't heard about that. No one
yeah,
made a big deal of that at all.
I'm not an OTA stats girl myself, but it is important to note, okay, what is the judgment here? What is the decision making, as we just heard Mike Vrabel talking about? There was one pass in particular that caught my eye where Drake went across the field and it was high and behind on Kendrick Bourne. And you just think, ooh, that's not a great decision. And then the execution was poor as well. And there were just, that was probably the worst pass, but there were a couple head scratchers throughout the day. Now, is my concern level very high with Drake? No. It's May. They're still installing the offense. It's still the learning period. Again, I understand that it would be hard for the intensity to remain super high on offense when they are in shells and shorts. But I think it's worth noting that they're in fits and starts. And where the starts seem to be coming is a report that, wow, he had a flawless practice where he blew doors last week when media wasn't there. But
He had the North Korean fearless leader practice where he played
but when
18
we
holes
were
of
there
golf and
again,
shot a 36. Yeah.
yeah, and it's not like he would look like a mess. It wasn't fantastic. And coming off of another media period last week where it looked rough, I would say it went from rough to inconsistent. So maybe that's some progress, but he doesn't look like outstanding right now.
Okay, yeah. So obviously a lot of work to do. We know that it's late May. We know he is trying to pick up whatever this retinkered and reconfigured Josh McDaniels offense is going to look like, which most definitely is different from AVP's mom jeans offense from last year. We know he's incorporating a lot of new talent as well. Travion Henderson and Kyle Williams. There was a lot of deep ball work, as we saw on the socials yesterday. We saw everybody and people making a big deal like, oh, wow, look at this deep ball from Drake May to Pop Douglas. Look at this bomb to Kyle Douglas and Kyle Williams. Kyle Douglas.
That one was me. That was my bad.
That was you. That's right. That was you. I saw so many people aggregate that. Then I saw the little camera emoji like HT Megan Ottolini. Like, okay, it's Drake May airing out the pigskin laundry to Kyle Williams. Looks good. Again, no shells, no defenders. So, nice practice ball, but yeesh. But then the thing that really caught everyone's eye after the deep ball porn was the first receiver drill of the day. Whenever video of that came out, the first two guys through were Jalen Polk and Javon Baker, and both of them dropped the ball. Like, guys, you had all offseason to get ready for your first social media moment in a Patriots practice uniform, and you blew it. Come on.
So here's my interpretation of that video that went out. And this is just my experience or my perspective talking. We're allowed to take photos of certain segments of practice. The segments of practice when we're not allowed to, and this goes for all of summer, are the most interesting segments and the most important segments. So seeing guys drop a ball in a drill when there's no defender on them and it's just working on your footwork and your hand-eye coordination, it's not a good look, but it's also not the kind of thing where I would make note and go, oh my God, what a mess both these guys are. It's kind of like it's part of passing camp. It's kind of like a warm-up drill. It's like tripping over yourself when you're stretching. Doesn't mean that you're gonna have a terrible game, but it's not a great look.
Or that it's time to dump you because your rookie year was abysmal with poor coaching, no guidance, and a locker room that was ready to turn on itself on a moment's notice with a coach that was in over his depths.
Javon Baker had a great catch in one of the competitive periods. And then he got himself into a little bit of a hot water situation by maybe celebrating it a little bit.
I heard he got I heard he got dressed down by Vrabel on field. And then later, Vrabel accompanied him off the field and continued speaking to him. This to me is great because what it says is Vrabel's not going to put up with any of that shit on the field. Pardon my French. No matter who it's from. You got to be like Brady, Edelman, Gronk level to be able to dish out that kind of smack or to be that.
You got to be Efton Chisholm out there.
That's right. You have to be Efton Chisholm. You got to be the legend of Lan Larison to be able to do that ish out there in the field. But then also What's nice, and my God, they're both already getting fitted for their red jackets as we podcast, Mego. And I'm rooting for both of them to make the team as well. I'd love two UDFAs who can contribute on offense and add some spark and splash. But the fact that Vrabel accompanied Javon Baker off the field says, A, he cares about the young man, or just educating and coaching up young men in general, which is part of what comes with the territory. And he's already improving on whatever efforts were made by Mayo and Incorporated last year. But B, I think he sees some potential in him. He knows he can go win those high point balls. He knows he has good downfield speed. He knows he can win on the outside. He wants this to work out for Baker, but Baker cannot continue getting in his own way. Let defenders, let other people competing at their highest level be the reason you don't make the team, not because you continue to make all of these stupid mistakes and immature self-inflicted wounds.
Right. I agree completely. I think Baker knows how uncertain his spot on the roster is right now,
Mhm.
and that there are guys like Efton Chisholm who are coming for it because it's not necessarily even just a wide receiver spot for Javon Baker at this point. It's, are you going to get into special teams as a returner? That's what they were
Right.
trying to kind of elevate him through last year, as they have with so many weapons through the last couple decades of Patriots football. So I think, it is a good example of both sides of Mike Vrabel, where he is this hard ass coach, but then also really wants to be transparent and communicate and give these guys a chance so early in the offseason program to say, hey, I came down on you there. That's just the expectation. And we need to see something different from you. And now you know it. And it's not personal, but we need to see it from you going forward.
I'll tell you, if honestly the wide receiver room ends up being Stefon Diggs, Pop Douglas, Efton Chisholm, um, Kendrick Bourne, maybe
Kayshawn Boutte.
Kayshawn Boutte, and obviously Kyle Williams. The Patriots are going to win in space so much, and we're going to have the best 7 to 12-yard passing offense in the history. We're going to crush on the in cuts and the outs and the slants. There's going to be a guy there who runs go routes. So I fear that it could make the Patriots offense a touch more predictable as well. But again, he still has the rest of the OTAs and obviously minicamp, which is going to be huge for him in June. And then, of course, training camp opens in late July with 3 preseason games. We will get to our predictions after minicamp. Our far too early roster projections will come here on Six Rings and Football Things after minicamp as well. I also saw Travion Henderson, like you said, getting in some of that screen work as well. Some knuckleheads online were saying like, oh, look at the slow release from Drake. Oh, he's telegraphing the throw. People, he's trying to establish early chemistry with his new pass-catching running back, who also might be a focal point or featured weapon on the offense, number one. And number two, again, it's late May. Nobody needs this at game speed just yet. When you pull the car out of the garage, just because electric cars go super fast, super quick, most cars still have to get into gear. You have to work your way up to fifth gear and top speed. Like, people need to settle down with that. That said, I'm glad to see that those guys are trying to establish a connection as well.
I'm just imagining what it would be like to have a garage. Massachusetts, what a luxury. I live in the city. Yeah, Kyle Williams and Travion
Don't have one in
Henderson.
Rhode Island. Danny Amendola will tell you it's a nightmare.
Kyle Williams and Travion Henderson. I have to be careful about how I say this because they're very particular about what you can say about who's playing with who and position
Yeah, I know
grouping.
you can't give away format. I remember last year when we were told, like, you guys didn't see the new kickoff formation practice. Like,
Right.
all right,
And
I'll pretend I didn't, but I did.
It doesn't even get that like it can be more vague than that and get in trouble for it. I'll say that they're getting a lot of opportunities. They're getting a lot of opportunities very early, whereas some more familiar faces on the offense are perhaps getting lower level opportunities than you would expect.
Right.
And I think that's a great indication early on that they continue to see something that they saw in those two guys when they were in the pre-draft process. And so they want to keep throwing them out there. Again, this is still like the learning part of camp. It's not as much competition. But if you're slated in certain or slotted in certain spots, I think it speaks well for your progress as we get into the more competitive part of summer.
Yeah, Travion Henderson, lock for the roster. Will Campbell, unsigned still to date, alongside Craig Woodson and Travion Henderson, lock for the roster. Kyle Williams, roster lock. He's in that wide receiver room. His role yet to be determined, but we can see. Wouldn't be surprised if the Patriots try to expand the field using Kyle Williams, though he does say that he models his game on field. Everyone after Stef Diggs on field. The rest of the room, kind of a question mark as well. We'll see. And I know that a Josh McDaniels offense is notoriously difficult for anyone to pick up, let alone rookies who slowly get integrated. But if these guys can show that they belong and that their college tape and their incredible stats from their 2024 seasons are no fluke, I could see them earning a better and bigger role quicker, sooner than later. All right, those are Mego's observations from the second round of OTAs at Gillette Stadium. But now we need to get into the biggest, most salacious, wonderful tabloid topic, the Stef Diggs boat drama. All right, so to me, it's kind of hard because this Stef Diggs thing, Mego, like if you say it's no big deal, then you may be underselling or underplaying or showcasing like a certain insensitivity, or you might just be, brushing it under the rug because there's such a need for talent on the team. I'm certainly not going to get out here and be like, that's my wide receiver one. That's wide receiver one behavior. Good for him. Like he's on a giant boat with a couple of dudes, his girlfriend, who's an internationally renowned R&B hip hop star, and then a bunch of women barely clad. Now, listen, I don't tell you what to put on your hot dog. I don't tell you what kind of wine to eat with your steak or fish. If this is what you want to do with your private time, yeah, exactly. Thank you, Jake Smith, watching live on the Fitzy GFY socials. You can't prove anything. That was just fishing bait he was passing out. Yes, it was a deep sea charter as well. They were hunting a shark. They were going to find it, catch it, kill it.
I hate those things. Those things make me so nauseated. I can't do the deep sea fishing.
Same. I'm such a good shallow water fisherman, but I am the pits in open water. But
maybe it was Pepto-Bismol.
Right. Maybe he was passing out just some sort of, like people take emergency or airborne when they're going to fly to boost their immune system. If you're going to be in a crowded area, a lot of viral pathogens going on out there, Mego. So who knows? That said, to me, the biggest lack of judgment, or should I say, my biggest issue is Stef Diggs saw people filming. If you're going to have a boat like this with a giant hip hop star and a recognizable NFL star who was just at the Met Gala, basically wearing Mufasa draped over his shoulder, you may want to just have a no phones policy on the boat, or like a staff photographer. Then later on, you can disseminate video to people if you want to, but it's going to have to be encrypted or watermarked or something, or just flat out live that moment and don't be disseminating footage like this, because now it gets out, and I hate to say it, it's a little bit of a bad look.
I agree. It's not a great look. It makes you look unserious. If you're Stef Diggs in your early 30s now, and you're coming back from an ACL, and you have $26 million guaranteed from the Patriots, and you have come in with this image where everybody in Houston says that you're this great guy who is really more of like a mentor to the young receivers down there, shedding this diva personality that you had in Buffalo. It's just, it makes you look unserious, and it makes people cast doubts on your perspective at this point, and your ability to be a leader, or even to be fully committed to the situation that you're in. And that sucks. At the same time, I think it's like pretty stupid. I think the whole thing is pretty stupid. From a football perspective, there's not high stakes here. The NFL revamped and relaxed a lot of its recreational drug policies.
Which they should, considering that any one of us may have trouble sleeping, or, some aches and pains. You can't really see it on the live video feed, but, if it's okay for you and I to make an appointment at the dispensary, which is conveniently located between the gas station convenience store that sells vapes, darts and scratch tickets, and the liquor store that sells everything intoxicating under the sun, then there shouldn't be a double standard policy in the National Football League, especially when these guys go through so much physical violence and trauma on a regular basis.
Right. There's definitely a whole other conversation to have with that, especially when it comes to opioid use and painkiller use. and the issues around that with what is a very violent and physical game. But I think, like from what I was saying before, from football stakes, there really are none here. Aside from Vrabel deciding that he's going to have some kind of punishment of his own, or if this changes the perspective of the Patriots inside the building on who they signed as a very high price, probably their second highest profile free agent just a couple months ago. But like, I would be shocked if there was a real punishment from the league. And if there was, it would be like a $15,000 fine at worst. Again, I don't know how
Conduct unbecoming potentially, even
yeah,
though this
I
is
don't
conduct very regular for a lot of
well,
NFL stars.
I
I
don't
hate to
even know how
say.
you would prove anything. We can't prove anything. We can't say what it was. We even speculating what it could be. Like Fitzy, we're both older. Like I have no idea what is that logo means, what it
Yeah, I don't know why he
I
wants
don't
people to
know.
call him daddy. There's video of him slapping some booty out there, and I don't mean Kayshawn because he ran a route wrong or didn't listen to wide receiver one coaching him up on the sideline or the field. Cardi B had someone grinding on her. Listen, go get your freak on off
Yeah,
the
I don't
field.
care about that
Like you
side of
can be
it.
a certain kind of freak off the field, and then as we've known, Stef Diggs is supposed to be a certain kind of freak on the field.
Yeah, but
Hyper
like
competitive.
the
Highly motivated.
party aspect of it, like, who cares? I mean, come on. Like, he's a young professional athlete. Like, who
Right.
cares if you feel uncomfortable with that, if it's not your scene, whatever, to each their own. The possible distribution of, again, some kind of substance, we have no idea what it is, if it's illicit, if it's nefarious.
Right.
I just think that you are inviting for the
Contraband.
first time under the Vrabel era, something to cast doubt on. Aside
Right.
from like, oh, are the arms too short? Are the shoulders too slender on your
I'm
left
glad to
tackle?
have something else to talk about aside from, boy, the Celtics really crapped the bed and what a miserable tire fire the Red Sox are. And why don't the Bruins have a coach across the rest of the Boston sports spectrum? It's interesting. Again, a little dirty. Like I kind of almost feel like I need to take a small soul shower after I watch every one of the videos, but I also can't take my eyes off it because, damn, that's a little bit different from my life. But look, Vrabel, he wasn't at practice on Wednesday. My guess is Vrabel said, you know what? Don't be here. Don't be a distraction. I'm not thrilled with your behavior. Vrabel did say he spoke with him. He wouldn't reveal the nature of the conversation or what he said in private to his new high-priced free agent wide receiver, who has been doing insane work rehabilitating. He looks like he's ready for the season to start. He was out there catching passes and running routes at the last OTA session. He tore his ACL a couple of days before Halloween, non-contact, and now he looks like he's game ready. I'm no doctor, nor have I played one on television or spent time recently at a Holiday Inn Express, but the dude looks like he's going to be ready for the upcoming NFL season. I think Mike Vrabel, in that whole approach of we're going to remove entitlement and we're going to earn the right to be out here every day. You can be unserious as you want off the field, but whenever your unseriousness carries over and affects our serious business on the field, like when a video goes viral for all the wrong reasons, that's when he gives somebody an earful. So I'm not surprised Diggs did his rehab away from Gillette the other day. He'll be back in no time.
I'm not sure that we can say that it is directly related. He wasn't there last week during the media open OTA,
Right.
and in just talking to Kayshawn Booty after practice yesterday, he was like, yeah, he hasn't been around that much. Like we've talked to him and developed rapport when he's been here, but he hasn't been around that much.
Mhm.
Coming back from a serious injury. So
Right.
was that directly related to the video? I don't know. But all in all, it does create a little bit, I think, of an awkward situation, more so because he's coming back from that injury than anything
Mhm.
else. And when you're coming back from an injury and you got something to prove that you're still the guy that you were before in terms of your production on the field, I think it invites more scrutiny of like, hey, are you taking this seriously? Are you taking your comeback seriously?
Mhm.
Or are you just getting checks and, whatever? You want to party, it's fine. But
Yeah,
the
fine.
whole social media aspect of it and opening yourself up to any kind of like risk and speculation, I
Mhm.
just think it looks unserious.
Correct. Get a grip on that as well. So I'm sure he'll probably tamp down the social media appearance. Okay, go ahead, be at the Met Gala. Go ahead, have photos of you put out all the Footwork King videos, Mohamed Sanu style. You want to N'Keal Harry style of you rehabbing and looking like you're ready to be a third round draft pick in fantasy this fall. That's great. Enough of the crap with the scantily clad people on the boat with the bags of pink booger sugar, allegedly, or whatever the hell it is. Two last things, and when we get going, our pal Murph brings up as he's watching live as we record Six Rings here via Twitter. No Terrell Williams at practice once again. Obviously, Mike Vrabel addressed that. Still coming back from whatever his personal health ailment was. Any insight on that, Mego, or what? We still don't know exactly what it was.
Yeah, I mean, it
but the
sounded like
defense hasn't looked like they've suffered for the DC not being there, right?
no, and it sounded like it was something that he described as being quite traumatic. So him taking his time with that this time of year, I don't think is a huge concern. I would say that the defense continues to look ahead of the offense, even though when I asked
That's what I
Mike,
read. Like they're gonna, like somebody said, this defensive line, if they're healthy with Landry, White, Williams, and Barmore, is going to be a handful.
yeah, Robert Spillane was very high on that yesterday. So I think, like this, especially with the linebackers, that's Vrabel's bread and butter. He's very comfortable managing those units. So I'm not
Comfortable. Brendan Schooler dragged him into the freaking huddle, and then he ran with the team. He still wants to play. He so badly still wants to be a player.
He and some of the other coaches, if you haven't heard, they do a part of practice where they throw pennies on and they, pretend like they're linebackers, whatever. But Vrabel at one point was walking around with that
Vrabel's cosplaying. I love it.
He was walking around with that penny on like for probably a solid hour of practice yesterday after the fact. I was like, does he know he's still wearing that? Or is there some chance that he goes back in on one of these drills?
It's so funny. All right. Well, Mego, we appreciate all your thoughts and observations when you get down there. Mego also had a great little chat with Nicole Yang from the Boston Globe, fresh off the field yesterday as well. Part of the On the Beat series that we offer in the off season. And of course, each and every week during the season here on the Six Rings and Football Things feed. You can obviously give her a follow at Megan_Ottolini. Read her at weei.com and hear her here. And on the weekends, at WEI, and filling in a whole bunch. We'll probably be doing a bunch of shows together in the coming weeks on the afternoon slot, and I'm very much looking forward to it. And of course, you can find me here at Fitzy GFY and on the afternoon show as well. One last point of order. As we have been continuing to revamp Six Rings and Football Things, you see we have our fun new intro. We've got our fancy new logo. We're bringing you as many podcasts as we can with on the field and off the field perspective, special guests, and more. We would like to hear from you, the listeners to this podcast, as to what you love about it, what you don't love, and what you would love to hear and see more of. So if you would only be so kind, either slide into my DMs at FitzyGFY and share your email address so you can be part of our new Six Rings and Football Things listener focus group. I promise you it's only just an email with a couple of questions. We're trying to get as many data points as we can to improve this podcast, much like the football team is doing now, Mego, at the OTAs and minicamp to come, and make it the best podcast and best fan forum possible. Or you can email me at townienews, TOWNIENEWS @gmail.com. That's townienews@gmail.com. We'll put you in touch with somebody from the parent company, ask a couple questions, and who knows, if I find out that you put on your participants and helped us out, I may have a little something to send you in the mail. That's not a bribe, nor is it a payola. That's just me being a grateful Uncle Fitzy. All right. For Mego, this is Fitzy and everyone at the Six Rings and Football Things family. Thank you guys so very much for tuning in. We'll be back next week. Make sure you tune into our over-the-air segments. And John Lyons and I had a great time recently on Six Rings putting together our all-Patriots Olympic flag football team roster. You're not going to want to miss it. Take care. Good.